Sorry? Okay, Clark. Okay, cool. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming to my talk. I'm going to talk about when AI exposes your guardrails. So when teams start to use heavily AI agents, you will see two narratives. One kind of team will often tell you, our code is full of AI slop. Like it's been 2 weeks and like everything is horrible and everything is bad and we have 3 incidents a week. Remember Amazon? Yes, they basically said that. Some teams say, oh my God, I cannot believe how like fast we're draining the Jira queue. We are getting to all the low priority items. Now you might think that like, definitely one of them is wrong, right? Definitely some of them is not noticing something. I'm gonna say that like they're both right. So why do they? How can they both be right? So the issue is what kind of software guardrails were they dealing with? Software guardrails are like what helps you catch mistakes, right? They scale up, right? Like they don't care if you triple or quadruple or quintuple the amount of PRs you put in. They will just stop all the bad PRs. The other option you have is that the more PRs you have, the more entropy you have. Now that doesn't matter if like the people like putting in the PRs are humans or AI, right? Either way, but what AI does is like it's probably like making a little bit more bugs, but more important than that, it's making you more productive at putting in bad PRs that make it all the way through. Right, so like the entropy increases much faster, right? If AI makes you like, let's say, 4 times more productive, I'm not saying it does, but like let's use it as a thought experiment, then the gap widens, right? The better the AI is going to be, the worse it's going to get, right? Or the better it's going to get if you had good guardrails, right? So the gap widens. So the guardrails become more and more load-bearing. Before that, you had some friction. You had some human slowness in the loop that helped reduce the rate of incidents. When you lose that friction, you're just going to find that like, now your guardrails are actually like load-bearing. What happens is what happened in Amazon. You blame the AI. You say like, oh no, everything has to be code reviewed by a senior engineer, blah, 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 right? You know why it's easy? You know who's not in the room when they decide whose fault it is? The model. Right? The model is the only one who can defend itself. But the right solution is to fix the process. How did a bad PR from the AI went all the way through and caused an incident? Like clearly something should have cut it. Unit test coverage, right? Integration tests, blue-green, canaries, right? Like we know what kind of things do that. If the bad PR caused an incident, that means your process has a serious issue in it. So the same maturity that would prevent it can also repair that, right? Because if you put in those things, they will catch all your historical issues that are probably like, just sitting there waiting to cause an incident, right? So you have to figure out how to kind of, properly mark them and then like, fix them one at a time and so on. But, eventually you will actually improve your historical issue and you will get to the point where you don't have those historical things that have, like for the last 2 years, you've probably put in and they just haven't caused an incident yet. So the problems are already there. Probably whatever kind of problem got all the way from PR to incident, there's already 50 others in the code. I can promise you because people make bugs all the time, right? It's just that none of these problems have hit yet. So you should audit what kind of problems are causing, and then you should automate all of these things. And automation here is like super important, right? Like you don't trust review. You don't trust LLM review. I'm not telling you have the LLM reviews that. I want to be very clear. I'm telling you, have the LLM help you write a proper linter, right? If you need to go to like, explicitly use the AST, or you need to figure out the Flag 8 API, figure it out. You know who's good at figuring out Flag 8 API? Yeah, that's right, the LLM. So you will get to the point where you correct by default. You will get to the point where everything that could cause a problem is cut much earlier, right? Maybe later than you would like, maybe only after you roll out a canary. But that's still not causing an incident, hopefully, if you build good canaries. So my challenge for you this week is like, find one review comment, said don't do that, and find a way that you can automate it so it would have made it red. That's it. I have 0 time, and I've finished, so thank you all for listening.
All right, let's roll. So, for about a year, I've been on this amazing journey with AI-assisted coding. About a year ago, some friends of mine showed me how to vibe code with Cursor, and I thought it was amazing. I'm like, whoa, I can do way more than ever before. The only problem was after I do my back and forth of prompts, it's gone, right? I wanted to keep the same standards and stuff, gone. So that's when I learned about context engineering and spec-driven development, and woo, that's what I want to show you today. So here, I have this awesome app. It's called Buggy Board. It's a little web app I've just been tinkering around with. Imagine like a bug tracker, right? You've got different bugs of severity. You can sort, you can search. There's open close states. You can edit bugs. You can create bugs. It's pretty cool. I'm using this for educational purposes. I'm developing a course with LinkedIn Learning. But hey, I needed an app to test. So how did I do this? Here's Cursor. Wow, amazing. So in Cursor, what I have done is I have created rules about reading a bunch of context that will guide my project through its development workflows. So rather than me just constantly grinding out prompts in this little left chat, I can actually record what ideas I have, how I want things done, and then the AI will be like, got it, I'll do that for you instead. So where it starts with Cursor, you have to give it a rule, and I say, hey, use specs as content. When working on the Buggy Board web app, read the Constitution. For a feature, use the corresponding features. Update things according to progress. So I'm giving it workflow-based instructions. And you can see down here in my specs folder, I've got folders for things like design, engineering, the actual features that I want to build. And you can see I have a whole project constitution showing where everything is. It's kind of like an index. My development process, where I'm saying, hey, I want to write features as markdown and then build from then. I even have Gherkin standards because I'm all up in that BDD stuff. Woo, that's right. So real quick, I'm going to show you a feature that I developed just while sitting here at PyTexas. In fact, I didn't develop it. I just had Cursor develop it. So here was the original feature for creating the bug. That was this whole flow, the new bug flow. And in my feature file, I had the user story. I had specific fields I wanted, and I also had acceptance criteria written in Gherkin. This I had done weeks ago. But what I did is I used AI prompts to say, hey, I want to add a new field to the bugs data named creator and blah, 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 blah. And so I already did that because I didn't think it would work on stage. But I stashed my change that I'll pop real quick here. Apply stash, PyTexas, boom. And so you can see what it did through all of my prompting of how to go about this. It was reading the context and doing awesomeness. So it actually updated the feature, the existing feature. I didn't have to make a new one. And you can see here, hey, it actually added this creator field. It changed the workflow design. And this was me back and forth, kind of being that voice of validation and what is good, guiding the AI along. It even updated my Gherkin scenarios. And then I told it to implement those changes. Oops. And that's down here in the prompts too. I went back and forth a little bit, but all of this was informed by the context. And at some point you'll see there's code down here. Yeah, you can see some code changes, and you can even see some of the files changed. And so now if I run the app, come on, let me do that again. Run the app. What we should see, hey, look, there's a creator field. Woo, it worked. And if it's, oh my gosh, it's read-only, exactly how I specified it. When you create a new bug, it's not there, because when you create a new one, I'll just create one real quick. Let's see here. Description is required. Let's make it high priority. And boom, you can see it uses my current login name as the creator name. So pretty cool that I didn't even touch the code and it was able to make code. Now, that's all well and good, pretty awesome. Bigger point here, did anybody notice anything peculiar about this project, given that this is a Python conference? This ain't a Python project, this is a full stack Node project. Do you think I know TypeScript? I fumble around. The stack for this is full stack TypeScript on Node, React front end, Express backend, SQLite database. Now I can get around in TypeScript, but this is the first project I've ever used React or Express. I can't say that I know them very well. I can fumble, and I know architecture, and I know patterns and all that kind of stuff. But I tell you what, this app looks pretty good, doesn't it? Yeah, you can do amazing things, much more than ever before. So be empowered, because if you can describe it, you can do it. Thank you.
All right, so I am at PyTexas to talk to you about what we talk about at PyTexas. So I'm Tristan Lee. I'm a data journalist. I use Python for all kinds of different things. So yesterday I was at the conference, relaxing, and just thinking, man, this is the first conference I've been to in a while where I wasn't giving a talk. It's so chill. So naturally, I decided to do a last-minute lightning talk on a project I made last night. So, and that project is all about networks. So a network is, you can think of it as containing two types of objects, nodes and edges. Nodes are some kind of object, and edges are some sense in which those objects are connected. It's very abstract, but in general, networks are all about connections. And I was at a data journalism conference in March, and I actually had a lightning talk on a network visualization I made, where the nodes are speakers and edges between nodes are when two speakers were on the same panel or session together. And unfortunately, this type of visualization wouldn't work very well for PyTexas, because most of the talks are just one person, and also there's a lot fewer talks per conference. But there are some ways that we can visualize PyTexas using networks. If you were here in 2023, I talked about how to use Python for digital investigations, and I showed you a few network visualizations that I've made, including this one that where the nodes are named entities in a corpus of social media data from European conspiracy theory communities. And we can do a similar thing using PyTexas video transcripts. So the pipeline here is download videos from playlists, from the PyTexas playlists using YTDLP. YTDLP is a great open source gem that lets you download videos from basically anything. We transcribe the audio with an ASR model. In this case, I used NVIDIA Parakeet because it's fast. I tried a slower model, but it wouldn't have finished by now. Extract the entities using Spacey. Do data cleaning, which everyone loves, and then classic network visualization, convert graph using NetworkX, compute the node positions using Gephi, and visualize using Sigma.js. Don't yell at me. I know Gephi and Sigma.js aren't Python, but hey, what can you do? So big shout out to Mason and the PyTexas Foundation for maintaining a great PyTexas conference website that has links to all the YouTube playlists. Makes this kind of thing way easier. So data cleaning. A lot of people say matplotlib in different ways. PyTexas does not always get registered well. And for some reason, the model really does not like Al. Without further ado, let me show you the network. Let's see. So you can see the network here. We have a description, and again, the nodes are essentially terms. Or named entities in the transcripts. Edges are when two entities are within 10 words of each other. So we have a few different, the size of nodes is the number of talks that mention them. So a lot of people use the word API in GitHub, not surprising. So in red, we have kind of this cluster for tooling and packaging. We have some kind of API stuff. We have systems and containers. We have some kind of Zen of Python and Pythonic stuff. If you hover over a node, you can see the edge of the nodes it's connected to. So this is a nice little visualization that I just got working like 2 hours ago. There we go. And so that's about it. You can explore the network on my GitHub pages site, which is in the QR code. Scripts for all this processing are also on this GitHub repo. The slides are on this bit.ly link. You can, if you want to connect with me, go to my landing page, tristanl.ee. Shout out to the government of Estonia for the .ee domain name. It's got my LinkedIn and also any articles I've published. Like I said, I'm a journalist. And you can check out my outlet, Decoherence Media. And that's about it. Thank you.
Hello. Oh, I'm going to have to move all of these over. Hi, I'm Al Swigert, and I like turtles. Who has heard of the turtle module in Python? And who has not heard about the turtle module in Python? And who is in a mysterious third category? Okay. Right, so turtle graphics is like, if you've ever seen a programming teaching tool where it's like, hey, move forward 100 pixels and then turn left to 90 degrees and then move forward and then drawing a line behind it. That's turtle graphics. It was invented like back in the 1970s or 80s by Seymour Papert at MIT, and everybody has basically been copying it ever since then. Here we go. This draws a little square. Let me try drawing that again, unless... Oh no, it's always going to be on the other monitor. Okay, so this is kind of fun. You have a little thing called a turtle. You can program it to move around. It gets really interesting when you start putting code inside of loops, because then you can have it drawing lots and lots of things. And also when you start adding random numbers to just have it draw like slightly wrong squares everywhere. And then what people don't really know about Python's turtle is that it can also be interactive as well. Let me just go ahead and have it draw really wrong looking hexagons to make little roses wherever you click, and you can just make a dozen roses if you want. The thing about Turtle is it's kind of very old school. You're just drawing lines. It's not very cool. But the thing that I really like about it is that it's simple. I've made something called the Simple Turtle tutorial on my website, inventwithpython.com, because I really didn't find any good Python turtle tutorials, so I think this is about like 20 pages or so. It's just like an introduction, kind of meant for a younger audience, but really anybody can enjoy it. And then I've also like gone into making fractals for my book, The Recursive Book of Recursion. Let's see, I have 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. Okay. So fractals are recursive shapes, and you can use Turtle to draw them. In this case, I'm just drawing a square, and then I'm drawing another square in the corners of that square, and then squares in the corners of those corners, and therefore, and so on and so on. And you can start making all sorts of neat little fractal art with like just squares and triangles, and the classic Sierpinski triangle right there. This is all in like my book on recursion, and all my books are free online at inventwithpython.com. And then I started getting really into it and drawing like those impossible weird shapes. They're like MC Escher. Like is an artist, Oscar Ruterswald, who has made this shape, and I decided like, hey, it'd be cool if I just generated tons and tons of those. Yeah. It's a really fun thing. I've also made like Tortuga, like a package where I'm trying to translate turtle.py into non-English languages just to make it more accessible. And also Turtle SC, which is like a shortcut thing because a lot of these function names are super long, so I wanted something shorter than that. The other thing that I made is scroll art, which I gave a presentation on a couple years ago at PyTexas. This is basically, I wanted programming examples that would be fun and simple for people to create. So I just had print function calls inside of a loop to fill up the screen with a bunch of text, and then, oh, let me just find something simple like right here. And then once the screen is filled, they would all start moving upwards. So you had like this kind of weird little animation system. And the great thing about this is that every programming language has print and loops and random numbers. So you can start doing all sorts of weird things. So scrollart.org is where I have that. And I started getting really esoteric and weird with a bunch of these. It's something I've been working on for the past couple of years. And there's even a Python. Those are all JavaScript, so I can easily show them. But I have a, if you do pip install scroll art, I also have a whole bunch of them implemented here in the terminal in Python, and you can check out the code for that. And that is my time. Thank you very much.
All right, so I'm here to tell you today, you ain't a god. I think that technology might make you less human, but it ain't turning you into a god. Now, what I kind of mean by this is that it's a metaphor by which I've been trying to internalize some of what's happening in the world as of, however many years ago you want to talk about it, but especially nowadays. is that folks are using technology, usually it's subconsciously, to deify themselves. And that's a fancy way of saying become a god. I'm also saying a god because I don't want to do like the capital G and all that stuff. But I thought this would probably be easiest to give with examples from random scripture. So I pulled this one from a place I won't show yet. You might know it. I can know anything about anything, for I know all things. Do y'all know what this is from? Of course, it's Googleations 8:8. For I know what you do when you do it, and have known what you have done when you have done it. No, it was the book of Face. You shall deliver unto me this same day your possessions, and they shall be mine, my possessions. Yeah, Messiah, you guys got it. Woo! And I will pick among you those worthy of my attention. It's the songs of Spotify. Wait, no. That was Netflixidus? TikTok? Actually, it's about everything nowadays. And then, of course, recently it was written, my will be done. Just everything. Just everything. What do I mean by this? I mean that your imagination is infinite. And I want to demonstrate this. I want everybody to close your eyes. Actually do it. I promise there's nothing exciting on stage other than me and Bucky. And we're going to imagine ourselves, we're an astronaut, and we're hopping on the moon in our spacesuits, and it's kind of fun, right? Like, it's a weird feeling. All right, now we're actually going to change that. We're going to imagine ourselves, we're a deep-sea diver, and there's a shipwreck, and your flashlight catches a glimpse of something. And now we're going to switch, and we're going to imagine ourselves, we're at Disney World. We're having fun. There's laughter. It's a nice day. Our kids are behaving. Now open your eyes. Remember your last vacation. Was it perfect? Was it the same as that Disney World one? Cost money? Did things go wrong? Did your kids not behave? Did you like it? Would you do it again? Did you enjoy yourself? Things might go wrong. Things might be imperfect. Because here's what you are. These sound mean. I'm awkward, I know I am. I'm weak sometimes. I had trouble carrying rice and beans down the elevator yesterday. But it's true. How many of you aren't these things? Yeah, if you raised your hand, you'd be weird. Because what you really are is finite. It's sad and it's scary, but it's also true. Did you think you were God? So I think that by embracing the fact that you are finite, that you're going to let people down, you're going to forget things, that you're going to cry and make people cry, that you'll fail, you'll actually get to control how finite you really are, which I called finiteness. It's a weird word. Somebody else wrote finitude. It's kind of fun. So I gave some suggestions. I don't know, take them or not. Say no to things you could say yes to. That's a hard one. Ugh, don't like it. Be honest with yourself and others. That, toil. I thought the LLMs were taking that away. Get bored. And wait. Oh, these things hurt. I have to wait for my package. Like my grandparents did. Oh, they're so old. What I really mean by this is sometimes you just do the hard things. That's it. It's hard and it sucks, but it's part of being human because you're finite. And it turns out by trying to do everything, you're also doing something much harder, which is be a god. So, in conclusion, be finite because you already are.
Yeah, my name is Young Lee. I'm AI system thinker, So I kind of think beyond, a little bit far away, looking at everything going on. So I was really impressed by you guys. You are just like genius. Like everybody, such genius. I learned so much from this conference. But I want to start with a Korean joke, okay? 30 years ago, when I first time came to United States, I didn't speak no English. I'm zero, nada, dara, okay? So I was really hungry, so I had to eat something. I didn't know what restaurant to go to. I cannot find any Korean restaurant. So I went to it was a vegetarian restaurant, okay? And she gave me this menu, you know, like, I don't know what to order. Like, it's just like everything gibberish, okay? So waitress, she was kind of want to help. And she said, are you vegetarian? So, no, I'm Korean. So, oh wow, I kind of laughed. So anybody laugh, later you need to follow my instruction, okay? And then, it was like 30 years ago, you know, like LAX, it was LA. So I have to go to airport, like 1 hour left, fly out, you know? So like, I got 1 hour left, so I got on the, like, taxi, please stop, you know, just got on the taxi. And I don't know how to say airport, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? And then my taxi driver, he was an Arab guy. He doesn't really speak English. Like, we both trying to communicate. So finally, I have a great idea. I'm going to draw a picture. So I draw a picture of an airplane. And taxi driver says, okay. Guess what? He took me to Malibu. Malibu, you know Malibu Beach? And he says, so my drawing, anyway, so I saw the seagulls, you know. He thought that was an airplane, you know. Anyway, I'm an AI system thinker. I got a few new acronyms, a new word. It's going to come, hopefully, you know, it's come. So I'm working on a new operating system. Its first one is called AI DOS. You know, how many people know disk operation system? You guys really old. How many people never heard of DOS before? Okay, young people, okay? That's old name, but it is not disk operating system. That is mean direct operating system. So AI direct operating system. So when I say AI DOS, would you mind just read that, you know, after that? So what is AI DOS? Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, my company is called Bobas.ai. Okay, boba, you know Boba tea? Yeah. Oh, you love boba? The many Bobas is the Bobas, okay? So I'm all about fun. So my AI system, DOS, is very simple, okay? The Bobas AI is the first implementing into DOS system, okay? DOS, okay? And another one, this is another one you might remember, AASI. Do you know we are getting into AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, right? Everybody know what that is, right? And after that, people say we're going to go into Artificial Super Intelligence, ASI. So what is AASI? It's advanced. After that, advanced artificial super intelligence. What is advanced artificial super intelligence is? It is vaccinated. You know, so it doesn't attack human being, you know? It's a vaccinated, okay? So I'm working on vaccine, okay? Another thing is you know, this thing, when AI comes, the society gonna change, okay? So let's do it again. What is AASI is? Let me hear it one more time. Thank you so much. So, next line is
5 minutes.
Oh, is it 5 minutes? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay, thanks all. So I've been thinking about this idea for the past couple of weeks. Like most companies, we are looking at adopting AI, and we have a mix of developers who have good experiences, bad experiences, true believers, people who are skeptical, right? So I work currently at Closing Lock, where we are a platform to provide secure real estate transactions and money movement. We use Cursor and Claude. Currently, it's just up to each developer to use these tools however they say fit. we're getting more serious about this recently, so our developers are using the tools more intentionally, and some of the developers are skeptical about this and have bad experiences. So this is an example of one of the things that came up recently. Wow, Claude lied to me, right? Disappointment in expecting Claude to have some level of super knowledge. They're asking about whether there's a Rovo MCP or a Bitbucket MCP. It turns out there is. It was announced 12 hours before they asked this question, and somehow the developers expected Claude to know that automatically, right? So there's some unrealistic expectations. I think that's one reason why people get disappointed. Again, pointing out the times. I've heard other comments like this. Claude's like a baby. Sometimes it just doesn't understand. Or Cursor is just like a really enthusiastic junior developer. I think those are pretty common sentiments, but they're also inaccurate in a lot of ways and are kind of misleading ways of thinking about it. Another comment I like, one of our principal developers, how could Cursor possibly be wrong? It's just the sum total average of all code written, right? My response to him was, if you think about it, it's actually the sum total average of all tutorials ever written, right? The results are just based on the training data sets, right? So the question is, what is your mental model of LLMs and what they do? I think that affects a lot about how effective people can be. So in my mind, LLMs are just statistical pattern machines, and prompting is another form of programming. So that's the way I think about it. So I had this idea, how do you make that obvious? What if you were to program a persona into the system prompt, right? It's a technique you can do if you don't know what a persona is. You just tell the LLM to behave like something. So here's an example. Pretend you're a caveman, make a PBJ sandwich. These are the instructions you get out of Claude, right? Make flat rock food with sticky brown nut paste, blah, blah, blah. Triangle makes food taste better. So how do you do that in Claude? How do you modify the system prompt? Turns out it's pretty straightforward. It's just another markdown document you could add on a project level or a system level. So you add that markdown that appends to the system prompt. You can also disable the coding instructions it has built in. Right? So next question is, what personas would I use? So 2019, I gave a series of talks about mocking, patching, testing, anti-patterns, and that sort of thing, and how that relates to design and architecture. It's a very positive experience. I think everybody should try it. One of the outcomes is I got a chance to review this middle book here about architecture patterns in Python and domain-driven design. So I think Hinek is a big fan, and Testing Panda also as well. One of the things about this book is it's written in a very informal way, like your best friend talking to you about a code, and also a lot of anecdotes from one of the authors, Harry, where he just talks about his experience with TDD and learning these different concepts. And if you look through these books, or the evolution, his viewpoint has changed a bit. So he's, in some sense, had different personas at different levels as he's written these books. So my idea is, what if I generate different personas for these combinations of things? So we happen to be working a lot with Laravel devs, so that's why Laravel's on here. What would a Django dev do who's a novice versus an expert? And so on. Cosmic is kind of the persona from the book, and then none is the default. So one of the big questions is, how would a none persona compare to a novice or an expert? What kind of result would you get? Will the Java expert produce FizzBuzz Enterprise? If you're not familiar with this is just a joke repo, but that's right. That could happen. Can I make Cloud Code schizophrenic? Right. This line, there's actually coding instructions built into the default system prompt. They're not publicly documented, but they were leaked. So the idea is use Claude Chat, generate those personas. Here's an example. Here's another example for Laravel and Django, or Laravel.
5 minutes.
And anyway, try it. Done. You're welcome.
Howdy. So, I'm Ege. I'm a student. I'm a conference organizer of a few conferences. And I enjoy open source, and I maintain a few packages or tools. Okay, we're gonna play a game right now. Is everyone ready? All right. So, I'm going to ask a few questions back to back. If your answer is yes, you're going to raise your hand. Is that clear? All right, let's do a test run first. Are you enjoying PyTexas so far? Cool. All right, let's get started. Are your summer plans still undecided? Okay, I see a good amount of hands. Does Europe sound tempting right now? It does, right? All right, have you met someone here you'll actually talk to again? Cool. Who here likes pierogies? A lot of hands. Cool. If you had your hand up for even a couple of those questions, you'd probably enjoy EuroPython. It's a full week of talks, tutorials, summits, open spaces, and sprints. And this year, we've got a few things planned that we think you'll love, including something very special with people behind Python. We're going to be hosting a live Core.py episode with Guido van Rossum, Vukash Langa, Pablo Galindo Salgado. Come join us this summer. You can scan the QR code for more info. That's it, folks. Thank you.
All right, y'all ready? 3, 2, 1, go. So, tell me, what's more fun than giving a lightning talk? When someone else decides to game the form and sign you up. You saw that hand up over there. David, raise your hand. Yeah, who did that? That was him. This was the title he actually gave me, How to Organize the Monkeys and Make Sure They Can Afford Bananas. This is a little bit of an inside joke for some of you who have not been here to PyTexas. But, you know, I got one answer for you. It's fairly easy. Just say no when Mason gives you puppy dog eyes. That's it. Thank you so much for the talk. I appreciate it. I'm just kidding. No, it's not just Mason. It's every single one of these folks who are in a tie-dye shirt. No, anyway, I thought I'd actually do this seriously. I have been organizing community conferences from 200 to 500 folks. I'm actually the core co-chair for Global DevOps Days. So I thought I'd give you some tips. Some things to know about running a community conference. I've said no to a lot of things. Yes, that is correct. It's really hard being the person constantly saying no, because everybody has great ideas. But sometimes you gotta understand, everything is a balance. It's not like we can just do everything we think about, because sometimes you can't afford it. You just can't pull it off. You don't have enough people, maybe. Generally, every community conference runs on a razor edge. Sometimes we have a little bit of money left over. A lot of times we're in the red. And we just try to make it work. To give you a sense of this, though, one conference I know got 70% of their revenue in the last 2 weeks before the conference. Rainy day funds are a thing. This is always our goal, making sure that we have enough money for next year to at least get us started. Otherwise, you can't book anything. Kind of hard. But you know what? Let me talk more about the kind of random things that I've learned instead of all this kind of not so fun part. You learn some things about people. Guess what? None of you, no offense or anything, no one actually reads any of the emails we send out. No one reads the website. No one reads the sponsor prospectus. You are constantly answering the same questions over and over and over and over again, right? It's fun. I actually don't mind it that much. Every speaker is going to go over their time, except when they don't and they finish in 10 minutes. And you're like, wow, okay. Because the one thing people do read is the schedule, because they're going to come late for the talk they want to go to, so make sure you leave a break. Everyone is going to lose their badge on day 2. Yes, how many people here did that? Didn't bring your badge, you're allowed to admit it. It's okay to forget your badge. We know about it, we plan for it, usually. Except for this year. You're always going to want to order more swag than you think, because everyone wants a memory. And sometimes they want more than one. So that's why there's that massive pile of shirts that you see back there. Be ready every time you run a conference like this to be surprised. I always learn something new years later. Like, registration changes every year. Whoops. I learned something new, but hey, every time you make a plan, it's going to fail. That's okay. Be ready for failure. Because, hey, everybody's having a good time. That's usually the goal. As an organizer, I want you always to remember what matters are the people who show up and the conversations that they have. It doesn't matter about everything else. If you're an attendee, the thing I want you to remember is that many hands make light work. All of this can't happen without other people helping. So, what can you do as an attendee? The biggest thing? Show up. Help. Participate. Clap. Ask questions. Volunteer if you can. Share with other people this is happening, because otherwise we can't have this happen unless everyone is here. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. But I do have one last thing to share for you, because I got surprised by PyTexas years later. You all just are really super obsessive over one thing. You love bananas. Thank you so much.